Hey guys, how you going? I was just reading the meditations and just one of them, not all of them. And one of the users on our Stoicism Reddit sent me a few translations, and I looked at one of them that was freely available. And I was looking at Book 4, Section 1, where Marcus Aurelius is talking about describing or using a metaphor to describe our inner nature, the nature of the inner defining essence of what's inside of us as a human being or a living animal on earth. And I wanted to kind of read the interpretation of the translation I have and then just um, elaborate on it slightly and offer my own translation, because what I noticed from what I was reading was that, and what people were talking about on our subreddit, was how the meditations can be quite challenging to decipher or read or pull out the riddles from, or how would you describe it? Get the transmission of the spiritual wisdom or insight from the text, kind of pull out the essence or the imagery, or yeah, get at the essence in a way that it kind of imbues and integrates with your soul, spirit, or mind, or just into your brain. So I wanted to take a look at book 4, section 1, just the first one. I think that will be quite enough. And as indicated before, it's about our inner nature. So I might just read it out first, and then we can go over it a little bit. And my hope is that I might be able to just kind of help um, offer a sort of commentary on it a bit. Whatever is in agreement with nature, the ruling power within us takes a flexible approach to circumstances. So there's a ruling power within us, or there's an essence, is what we're saying, of what we have, what's in us. And it's from nature, and it's in agreement with nature. And I would say the ruling power of us seeks for us to be in alignment with nature, with our nature. And this inner nature, this ruling power within us, is very flexible when it comes to the circumstances of life that we find ourselves in, which is great. It says that this inner nature that rules over us is flexible to circumstances, and it's always adapting itself easily to like the practical things at hand in our life and any given event, situation, or circumstance. So The visual metaphor that Marcus Aurelius uses to symbolize our inner nature is the flame or the fire. When we think of a fire, you could just bring a fire to mind for a bit. Just imagine a fire. Maybe a bonfire, if you've been lucky enough to sit around a bonfire, maybe with your friends, maybe at a party. Just call to mind the smoke, the crackle, and then just think of the flames for a second, the orange and red and white flames, and how adaptable the flames are. They're constantly shifting and moving and burning this way and that. The flames of a fire, they don't really stand still, do they? They're constantly shifting, adapting, burning here, burning there, and very hot and burning through things. And this is very much the nature, this idea of an insatiable flame, a roaring, burning flame. So if you think of the largest, most fiery, burning bonfire you've ever been near in your life, Marcus Aurelius is saying that that's our inner nature. It's our inner nature in the sense that our inner nature is symbolized by the qualities of that fire. So you could chuck many logs on that fire and it's going to burn through them. It could burn whole trees down. Our inner fire is not really limited. It could burn a whole forest down if it wanted. It's scalable, it can rise to the occasion. It's like what he's saying. The circumstances of our life don't really pose a threat to our inner fire. It can, I believe the word is eviscerate our problems, our situations, the practical problems we're facing. We've come equipped, our inner nature, to overcome them and also twist them in our favor, he talks about. Because a fire needs fuel, and our trials and tribulations or struggles in life, they fuel the fire within, is what he's saying. So we may think if our life is presenting us with quite a few challenges that we may think are not so ideal, maybe some suffering, some challenges. You name the problem, or all of them, bundle them together, and we can think, oh, I'm just a human. I'm not sure I can handle this. And now just recall to mind that giant bonfire that's been burning through 10 logs, and stare into it and then think, is that bonfire not up to the task of burning through those 10 logs, those 10 trees, that forest. Our inner nature, Marcus Aurelius is wanting to educate and remind us on, is up to the task of any circumstance that we face, any situation, any practical problems at hand, anything where we feel like we're not up to the task, we might struggle to get through it. We will completely demolish it, is what I think he's trying to get through to us. That he's talking about the sovereign ruling power within us, which I imagine is this all-consuming light of life from the cosmos that is just like this blinding light of awareness that just overcomes. It's that light, that fire within us that, you know, the famous saying where the obstacle in the way becomes the way. Yeah, because what we are, our fire, just totally consumes and burns through it. That's an awesome thing, eh? Because it just shows you, like, no matter what adversity we face in our life, we're adaptable, and at the core of our being, we're adaptable. We can overcome that. And as he mentions, we can actually, the things that we go through make our fire burn higher, brighter, and hotter. And interestingly enough, we see in the Christian scriptures this idea of the Christian God being an all-consuming fire who burns away a lot of things. There's a passage from Genesis that I find really interesting, and it says, it's a description of the tree of life and how it's guarded on all sides by, I believe, swords of fire in every direction. And the idea is to grab hold of the tree of life, you have to go through the fire. And the tree of life can be understood as Jesus Christ. And Jesus Christ it's not so much his physical body, it's the light within him, which is the most important aspect of him, I'm pretty sure. And Jesus Christ went through the fire physically, of adversity. Like, he's a perfect example, actually, for this section of the book, because the day of adversity came upon Jesus. He was persecuted, he was thrown into jail, he was flailed with whips on a post, and his flesh was totally scarred by other human beings. And then they made him carry his cross, nailed him to it, and then they crucified him, and his body died. So the circumstances weren't great in terms of his bodily safety and well-being. It was very, very tough, to be understated about it. It was it's hard to understand what that was like. But he was up to the task because the sovereign power within him, that the flame or the fire that we've been talking about, it pretty much just burnt through it. He adapted to the circumstances. The inner fire within him adapted to the circumstances, and literally the obstacles in the way became the way. And he grew stronger and stronger, though the adversity grew stronger and stronger. And it was like his body was like a log in the fire, and it just got totally burned up until just the light was left. Just his spirit, the, the spark of God was left. And it's that part of us, that soul, that spirit, that inner flame, which is a metaphor for it, that can rise above the trials and tribulations of the flesh and overcome a lot in this world. He pretty much overcame things, and he burnt a lot brighter and a lot hotter. And he's just a good example of what Marcus Aurelius is trying to get at. So if we're facing problems in our life that are similar or close, or even we feel like they're similar and that they're causing us to suffer, our inner nature, the flame within, is up to the task of using those hardships and trials and tribulations as fuel to the flame. See, Marcus is saying there's no favored material for our inner flame. Whether things are good or bad, it's going to fuel, it's going to use them, it's going to burn it up. If the times are prosperous for us, it's going to help out and offer a lot of good to everyone around it. And if times of adversity come upon our inner nature and us, then it's going to knuckle down and use that hardship as fuel and simply keep moving forward, and perhaps just be an example to others of how to go through the fire. So, like, adversity might be like, say you're a log and you just get burnt up, and it's kind of like the purification of a tree, maybe, or a log, because it's kind of everything's going inward. But if our inner nature is in a more prosperous position with better conditions for thriving, then it's going to expand outward. And we see that. We can just stick with, we can see that in Marcus Aurelius and Jesus. They helped so many people. And so their inner flame just kind of flamed out and set a huge fire upon many human beings in a beneficial way. It set a beautiful flame. It, it, it fueled the flames of those around them, physically, spiritually. Um, when Jesus is on the top of the mountain and there's great hordes of people coming to him because they know, they can sense that his inner flame is burning very strong and they want to catch flame. And so, yeah, there's that idea of, and we all die, so we all kind of burn through our body, burn through our life, like how Jesus went to the crucifix, how Marcus Aurelius died. I don't know exactly how he died, but inner nature is quite wild and consumes us a bit, but it also consumes anything we face. Maybe. Yeah, that's exactly what we've been talking about. It turns any obstacles into materials for fuel. So, good or bad, and the nature burns it up. It is like a fire mastering whatever falls into it. So picture that bonfire and then just throw all your problems into it. Just picture that bonfire at the bottom of near you and just throw all your problems into it. Just watch them falling into that fire. A small flame would be extinguished by these problems, by these troubles, by these adversities. But a bright and roaring flame rapidly claims as its own everything that is heaped upon it. It devours it, and its flames leap up higher and higher in consequence. A small flame will be extinguished, but our inner nature is not a small flame. It's a bright fire. It claims and burns through everything heaped upon it. It devours it. It leaps up higher in consequence. So we can just think about our fire for a second. And then just imagine your biggest problem in your life. Just call to mind your biggest problem in your life for a second. It may be small if you don't have many problems, but it may be a big problem that you're experiencing personally in your life. And just picture that as a giant tree. Your problem, your sole problem. We're in a forest, and there are many trees. And we're walking through the forest, and then we find your tree. And it's a big problem. And so we grab an axe and we just hack and hack and hack and hack and hack that tree down till it falls down. And then we hack and hack and hack that tree into different pieces of firewood, break it down, and then we carry it to a fire, modest fire that's burning. And then we throw some wood on it and it starts to burn brighter. And then we throw some more wood on it and the flames grow even higher. And we keep just throwing the wood on the fire from our tree, from our problem. And this fire just keeps burning, consuming, and devouring the wood. And a few hours go past, and a few more. And then you're looking at the fire. It's still going quite strongly, but you only have one piece of wood left from that giant tree you chopped down. Your biggest problem. There's just a small remnant left, symbolized in one last piece of wood, and then you just throw it on the fire. And it bursts into flames from the heat of the fire. And then as you look down at the fire, I just want you to visualize that fire slowly floating up off the ground. Up off the ground till it starts off at your feet, then it goes up a bit higher, it starts floating at your waist, at your diaphragm, at your heart level. The fire's floating around your throat level, your forehead, then just over the top of your head. And you're not scared of this fire. It's not burning you, but it's really hot. But for some reason, it's not burning you. And then that fire suddenly merges with your body. And you know that comic book hero, the Human Torch, who's like a walking human flame? Just picture yourself as the Human Torch for a second. Your body just overflowing with flames. There's flames on the top of your head. Some are coming out of your forehead. In your mouth, in your eyes, you can feel the flames all throughout your body. And it feels great, maybe a little ticklish, giving off a lot of heat. It's around your throat. You can feel it in your heart, your diaphragm, your belly, all the way down your legs to your feet. And just sitting with our inner nature of this flame within us from the bonfire. Surprisingly enough, makes us feel quite relaxed. We know just it relaxes our body a bit. Just relax your muscles a bit. The flames are just relaxing us a bit. And we're just sitting in this nature, inner nature, the flames all around us. And we sit knowing that no matter what we face in life, no matter our troubles, our trials, our tribulations, no matter how prosperous we may be, no matter how poor we may be, no matter the circumstances, our inner nature, the flames through our body, the sovereign power within us. Just picture a flame burning within your stomach, within your heart, within your throat, and then within your head, a fire burning. And just sit there relaxed, knowing that no matter what you face, you'll devour it. And the obstacles in your way will become the way. And you'll burn brighter and hotter, no matter what life throws at you. And you will get to where you want to go. And it's going to be great. There's going to be a lot of great, happy times for you and the people around you, that you're going to strengthen their flames, their inner flames and fire too. Just like Marcus Aurelius and Christ have done and strengthened others, you'll do that as well. You're already doing that, and you'll do it even more. And then we can let the flames go. Just let them vanish. Let them vanish inside until there's just a tiny ember in the middle of your chest. And it's just sitting there waiting to burst anything into flames, to devour it throughout the day. That little ember will be there. And if it needs to, it will burst into a fire and just burst into flames, and you'll be the Human Torch again if you experience any challenges. Just come back to the room a bit. Blink your eyes a bit. And take it easy. And I hope that was helpful for just diving a bit into Book 4, Section 1, The Inner Flame of Our Nature, the Sovereign Power Within, by Marcus Aurelius.